Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello there, warm welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington. With me in the studio are Mark Langdon and Dan Charles from the Racing Post Football Desk, as well as from Paddy Power, Adrian Croak. The domestic action returns after yet another international break. Don't worry, it's the last one until March now, so we can enthrall ourselves with the battles that are raging at the top and bottom of the Premier League. We will be looking at 4 live games. We'll be looking at all the other non-televised 3 p.m. Saturday stuff, and hopefully seeing what value lurks further down the divisions. Plus the chance to win a free £25 or €25 football bet from Paddy Power. First of all, though, we now know the 32 teams that are going to be competing for the World Cup in Russia next summer. So we'll have a good old chinwag about where the value potentially lies, how England are going to get on, etc. But first, before the lads pass on their wisdom, Adrian, give us a nice big blast of Paddy Power World Cup betting.
So currently we have Germany the favourites at 5-1, Brazil 5-1, France 6-1, Spain are 7s, Argentina are 8s, and Belgium are 12. And getting into the bigger ones, either England at 20-1, Portugal at 22, and Croatia and Colombia both at 33s, or 31 to round it out.
Okay, I guess, Mark, from a lot of people looking at those pots for the first time, the initial thing that people will say is, well, why Poland in pot 1 and Spain in pot 2? A, is that just? And B, what might that do to the draw?
Well, I mean, it definitely makes a big difference to the draw. I mean, the fact that you could get Poland or Russia or Germany or Brazil, I think is really important. In terms of why, it's because it's been done on the FIFA rankings. FIFA rankings have long been considered a joke. Actually, they were much better.
They used to be good, didn't they? Pauline used to actually do his ratings off the FIFA rankings for international football.
He's had to give up now because they've become even more ridiculous. I mean, before everyone used to criticise them, but actually you could use them. Now you can't. It all comes down to party results, but also friendly form is factored right into it. And actually, when you choose to play your friendlies, who you choose to play in your friendlies has actually become like a full-time job. And there have been nations that have been employing people to work out the FIFA rankings. Wales did it ever so well. Poland are another one. Switzerland are also been employing actually mathematicians to work out who you need to play, when you need to play them.
Whereas England just say, bollocks, fill Wembley as much as you can, let's get the biggest nations in there.
Probably the biggest ones would be Italy, who found themselves in a group alongside Spain, for instance, then finished second and then went out of the World Cup because they're terrible at friendlies, didn't think they needed to bother trying to actually win any of them, and then ultimately that was one of the reasons why they went out. So it's probably not done justly, but I suppose from Poland's point of view, they did reach the quarterfinals of the Euros. They had a very good World Cup qualifying campaign, so they'll feel like they're kind of there on merit. And Spain have had a couple of troubles, shall we say, in terms of recent international tournaments.
But Dan, it means that when it comes to the draw on December the 1st, I think everyone's going to be very nervous when it comes to, because what's the best draw you could get and what's the worst draw you could get?
Well, I'm not sure it can be a disastrous draw. I mean, looking from sort of England's point of view, I mean, you could get obviously a tough team among the top seeds of Brazil and Argentina and Germany, but looking down at the third and the fourth pots, there's not a lot of really massively dangerous teams you can get there. I mean, if you get for example, Germany, you can't get another European team. So Denmark look quite a decent team in that third pot, but you can't then get them. It's I don't know. Serbia probably the most dangerous team in pot 4. I don't think you can get a disastrous group. You can get a very good group, as Mark has mentioned. If you get Russia or Poland, you could get a really nice group. You'd end up with Russia or Poland. You could get Iran in from the third section and Panama. That would probably be the dream scenario for England.
Okay. Very interesting. And a quick word, Adrian, what's the mood been like in Ireland after Tuesday? I'm ever so sorry. I was out at a do and I put I switched my app on. I saw Ireland had scored, and the way these games have been going, I thought, oh, great, 1, that'll do. And then I scrolled down and Denmark had scored 5. What went wrong?
Yeah, it's been a better less said about that than anything. It was a hard game to watch. Sat back, and once the goal went in, it did look like that. And they were never really able to score 2 goals and got up to them.
Oh, well.
but it happened.
Okay. Right then, Mark. So, in terms of value, give me the team that you would back out of the established ones right now, and the team from the kind of where should we draw the line for a long shot? 20-1 and bigger.
Oh yeah, I mean, in terms of those at the top of the market, I mean, I said last week Brazil, but actually in the Paddy Power list, they've got them in Germany, together there, and I'm just tempted. I think probably when it comes down to it, whichever one of the front four, so France, Germany, Brazil and Spain, whichever one of them is sort of the biggest price, I think I'd probably be looking to back them. I think, just looking at it now, I mean, I thought Spain, I just went through their team the other days. I'm doing a team-by-team guide for the draw, and, you've got De Gea in goal, Carvajal and Jordi Alba as your fullbacks, Ramos and Piqué as your centre-backs, Busquets just in front of them, David Silva, Isco, Thiago, and Iniesta as the midfield four, with Morata up front. Now, at the moment, I'm thinking let's take on Germany because I don't see them being that much better, say, than the other three nations. So just Spain possibly there, although they're in pot 2, so it could get a bit hairy for them in terms of the draw. And from the outsiders, I mean, I've mentioned Croatia many times on here, so I'm going to go for somebody at a whopping price. I think Senegal, not saying they can win it, but I think they can outperform their sort of three-figure odds. If you look, they've got two players in Mane and Koulibaly. Koulibaly, the Napoli centre-back, Mane, absolutely outstanding for Liverpool. They've got one really good defender, one great attacker. Sometimes that can take you a long way in a competition. They've got a lot of players that play in Europe's top leagues now, so that they could be somebody that just sort of come into sort of my reckoning in the last week or so. Very
interesting. Dan, what about you? Same question. A fancy team and a rag.
Fancy team. I've been with France for a long time now. I think the team is the worry about them is the manager. I'm not so sure about Deschamps as a manager, but they've got so many talented players now that coming through up front. I mean, you've got a situation now where how do you get Mbappe, Griezmann, Lacazette, all into the same side? I mean, they've had Pogba out injured for a while recently, and it doesn't seem to have a massive impact on him. And he's turning into now a world-class midfield player. So they've got so many options everywhere.
My brow furrowed when you said that.
We'll get onto that later. But he got his 2 goals, didn't he, as well in the friendly against Germany? They conceded late on in that game, got a 2-2 draw. But no, I think they're really strong. I mean, of the outsiders, Croatia. I've mentioned a few times as well before the fact that they've nicked into that pot 2. I mean, it was looking unsure on their ranking whether they're going to make pot 2 or pot 3. I think that's a big thing that Croatia in pot 2 makes the draw. The draw at the last World Cup was really hard for them. They played Brazil in the first game. The referee in that game was really, really poor for them, and they probably should have got a result. Had to play in Manaus in their second game, so just the draw was tough on them, I thought, the last World Cup. I think they can go better this time. Denmark's another one, not just on one match form. I think they've, throughout qualifying, they had a tough start, but they've been improving right through qualifying. They had a very good finish to it. And Eriksson, obviously, they've got a real world-class player in there. I just feel that they're a pretty solid side as well. Christensen, a good young defender at Chelsea, coming through as well. Didn't even get into the team, funny enough, in the first leg against Ireland. But I think, they're still 3 figures, 100-1. They could, go a fair way into the knockout stages.
Absolutely schooled Poland, didn't they, in qualifying recently? Beat them 4-0, which, you wouldn't fancy too many.
And that shows you when the Ireland game, as soon as they got in front, they had the space to play. I mean, Ireland can make a lot of teams look poor, I think, the way they play. Just being so defensive and cautious, and it was a dodgy pitch as well in Copenhagen. As soon as the game opened up, Denmark completely outclassed them in the second leg.
Good performance, wasn't it? Yeah. Excited though, Mark?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I mean, obviously there was a lot of negativity about the 0-0s in those playoff matches, but I do think we've got 4. Really the 4 that I mentioned: Brazil, Spain, France, and Germany are really good sides. Argentina have got Messi and Aguero, so if they click, that suddenly turns them, into a very dangerous team. Just hope that they all sort of make it through to the latter stages. There's been a bit of carnage in recent World Cups with a few of the big boys going home. You remember Spain, Chile, Holland ended up in the same group as well as England, Italy, and Uruguay.
England and Italy failed to make it through from that group with Uruguay and Costa Rica, didn't they?
We have seen sort of the pragmatic team sort of coming to the fore in international tournaments. Hopefully, there's enough good teams there to sort of put away those sort of teams that just like to kill the matches. And I think that was good in the playoffs. Australia beat Honduras. Denmark beat Ireland. From the point of view, of seeing the best players, I think that those were really good results. Croatia beat Greece. So there was a 4-1 and a 5-1 in there. So it wasn't all dull.
And don't forget, folks, if anyone books anything or asks you to do anything on June the 16th, you keep that free because there's 4 matches in one day.
It starts at 11 a.m. and the last game kicks off at 7.
OK, well, let's come back in a moment with the first of the weekend Premier League games, and it is a big one.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds, conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
OK then, the live Premier League action kicks off on Saturday at 12:30. The North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. Paddy Power are betting 7-5 Arsenal, 5-2 the draw, 15-8 Tottenham. Let's see what our 2 resident Spurs fans make of this one. Dan Childs first. Hopeful or not?
I'm hopeful, yeah. I just think that the prices, I think Arsenal are narrow favourites with a home advantage. I think the prices are probably about right for the win for both teams. I think the draw was the one that stood out to me. I think the draw was around 5-2, 13-5. That looks a big price. In a North London derby, it's an old cliche, but neither team wants to lose it. The last 3 games, the last 3 league games at the Emirates have all been draws. Pochettino's actually got a good record. Hasn't lost in 6 of the Premier League derbies since he's taken over as manager. Arsenal, I thought at Man City, they played okay in that game. When it went 2-1 and Lacazette scored, you kind of fancied them maybe to get something out of the game. But, I mean, then you had the offside goal given against them that kind of killed off their revival there. So, I mean, a lot of it's down to injuries as well. You had the international break. You've got, I mean, it looks like Kane and Ali and Winks are going to be okay. More of a doubt over Hugo Lloris for Spurs. Toby Alderweireld could be out as well. So
is Vaughan back? Because that's played third choice keeper, didn't they?
Gazzaniga,
albeit he did well against us, didn't he?
Well, but I mean, I think Lloris would be a big blow. On the Arsenal side, Mustafi could be back from injury, but Koscielny's a doubt again with his Achilles. So there's that's a big difference if those two either make it or they don't make it. So there's doubts there. But I just think that the draw, as ever in this game, has been shown in the last few years, is such a big runner, and I would be backing that.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, I like the draw as well. I mean, Dan hadn't compared notes on this one previously, but I mean, 4 of the last 6 have been draws, and it used to be a really high-scoring derby, but in recent sort of times, that's I think since Pochettino took over, the goals actually has come down in it, and they're not quite as crazy and gung-ho, so the draw does become more of a runner. Arsenal unbeaten in 17 at the Emirates. I think that is worthy of respect. I mean, this is probably the shortest price Tottenham have been for a North London derby away, certainly that I can recall. And it all depends really for me on whether Lloris plays. I think if Lloris doesn't play, I'd be tempted to go Arsenal draw no bet. I mean, I think Vaughan was one of the reasons they lost against West Ham in the League Cup. I mean, he just doesn't command his box in anywhere near the same sort of manner as what Lloris does. And I think if Arsenal can get Ozil, Sanchez and Lacazette going, I mean, it's a good front three.
It's a terrific front three.
I just don't understand why he didn't play at Man City. It seems bizarre to drop Lacazette, given that he's he definitely the goal threat in that team. So I think if Arsenal are more adventurous, it may suit them in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if it finished 1-1. Kane and Ali and Eriksen going forward are very strong for Spurs.
I think it's really good. Really looking forward to the game, and it's funny because in recent years we've kind of felt that these Saturday lunchtime games have tended to be a little bit, cold to start with and take a while to get going. But I noticed Bill Edgar in the Times said that the stats on the Saturday lunchtime game in the last 3 or 4 years, but like over 3.5 goals or something. It's probably just a freak.
Well, there was that. There's been the 3-3 with Watford Liverpool springs to mind. The 2-2 with Stoke Leicester, which I don't think many people had down as an over 3.5 game as well. All depends when the first goal comes in a lot of these matches, really.
Okay, well, in terms of the live action, that is without doubt the first and best of them. But at 5:30 we've got Man United versus Newcastle United. Man United 1-4 with Paddy Power, 9-2 the draw, 11-1 Newcastle. Rafa versus Jose. Who's going to come out on top, Mark?
Yeah, well, we've got Michael Owen on the phone. He's going to be appearing in the Saturday Racing Post jury this week. So obviously
played for both clubs.
They played for both clubs. I think Newcastle could do with him up front now, really. So I was looking at Manchester United -1. It's copped in 7 of their 8 home matches so far in all competitions. The one it didn't was still a very respectful 1-0 victory over Tottenham. It all depends. I've mentioned it a few times now, but the first goal's key. I mean, United are very good on the counter attack. Lukaku has been quiet in recent weeks, but Martial was unplayable at times for France against Germany. I think they've got to get more out of him. I mean,
how do you do that? Because there's flashes of absolute.
I think that's
brilliance.
a failing in the manager. I mean, if he had somebody that trusted him under. I mean, you imagine, say, him playing for Man City and Guardiola getting like he has with Raheem Sterling, like he has, with Leroy Sané.
He's got to be loved.
I think he has got to be loved. I mean, Mourinho doesn't really do that, does he? He does tough love, and some people.
He does love one person.
Well, when he looks in the mirror, there's definitely someone there. I mean, Mourinho's had a lot of success down the years at that tough love, but I think he can let some players, Kevin De Bruyne would be one, slip through his grasp, and he can't let Martial go because there's definitely world-class talent in Martial. If you could get him, Rashford and Lukaku going in the same team, I'm sure there are other managers, Pochettino, Wenger, that would all try to do that more often than what Mourinho does. But I think this is the kind of game that Manchester United have been very successful in already this season.
So a 2 or a 3-0?
Yeah, I mean, it's just Newcastle have got nothing up front, but yeah, United -1 would be the definite way to play it.
Dan Childs, what's your view on this one?
I think United are a bit too short, actually. I've not been completely convinced by them since the start of the season. I've had tougher fixtures recently, but they've only won one of the last 4 games. One of those was the loss at Huddersfield when they didn't really turn up. Newcastle, I think they're quite a resilient bunch under Benitez. He has them very well organised. They don't. I mean, look, I won't go back to the Liverpool game. I know they're at home in that match, but I fancy Liverpool strong in that game, back to them at odds on. And Newcastle defensively, they impressed me in that game. Especially as the game went on in the second half.
Who's their best defender, would you say?
Best defender. I mean, you've got
Lascelles, probably.
Lascelles has come on since the Championship. He's a leader at the back there, and I mean, he could even be promoting him, looking for getting.
I think it's
England,
more about the unit, isn't it? With any Rafa, and
it's not big names.
It's the couple in front of them, isn't it?
Yeah, Hayden is a key man just in front of the back four. Really energetic, not the greatest ability, but they are a hard team to break down. And I mean, Spurs had a tough time, didn't they, as well at the start of the season?
But that was at home as well, wasn't it?
At home as well, but I don't know. I think United here are a little bit too short, and I'll be on the double chance just as a value option at around 11-4.
Right, let's look at the other 3 o'clock non-televised games. There's 6 of them, so Soccer Saturday's going to be well worth watching. We'll rattle through them. First of all, chaps, Bournemouth versus Huddersfield, 5-6 Bournemouth, 12-5 the draw, 7-2 Huddersfield. Mark, you go first.
I'd like Bournemouth here. I mean, Huddersfield obviously got that excellent win against West Brom last time out, but the expected goal rating for that game was very low. I think Bournemouth can turn a corner. I don't expect them to be sort of bottom 3 come the end of the season. Yeah, I'll back them.
Bournemouth for Mark. Who for you, Dan?
Bournemouth, definitely. They were excellent in the game at Newcastle last time. Scored late on, but thoroughly deserved to win. Huddersfield struggling away from home. No goal in their last 4 Premier League away games. Burnley
are 11-10 to win at home to Swansea. It's 11-5 the draw, and the Swans are 11-4. Dan, you serve.
I think Swansea are a little bit too big here. I'm not a great fan of them, but I just think at the prices, there's not a lot of difference between Burnley and Swansea. Burnley's home form is not a lot different to their away form this season.
Very unlike last season, of course.
Unlike last season. No, they've done extremely well, Burnley, but I just think at the end, between now and the end of the season, there might not be a lot of difference in the points take from now to the end of the season. So I think Swansea are a little bit too big.
Mark?
Yeah, I mean, with Chris Wood having played been part of the New Zealand squad that's just got turned over in Peru.
Did you see all the fireworks they were letting off
I
outside the
did,
hotel?
yeah. I mean, home advantage to the full there for Peru. I'd struggle to back Burnley at that kind of price, really. I mean, I don't like Swansea. Have just got no attack. They've got no service up to Tammy Abraham, so maybe no goal scorer might be a play there. I mean, I think I like Burnley in kind of the bigger matches when the onus is not on them to force the issue so much.
We've got Crystal Palace at 7-5, Everton 21-10, 9-4 the draw. What do you like here, Mark?
Well, interesting. Crystal Palace saw the expected goals Premier League table the other day. If it was down to that, Palace had been mid-table. They were one of the best teams I've seen play against Tottenham this season. If they can get Loftus-Cheek, Benteke, Townsend, and Zaha all going together with Saka at the back, I think Palace, could be the one to play here. There's a couple of doubts, isn't there? I mean, Loftus-Cheek would be the obvious one, having come off for England.
I do wonder a little bit whether he's a bit Balsa-wood. He's missed quite a lot of games for us this season.
Yeah, I
bit
suppose
fragile.
he's not used to playing this level,
True.
is he? Because obviously he's been playing under 23 football so much.
A number of games as well, isn't it?
I think the way Everton have approached things under Unsworth, more attacking. I was looking at the overs here as not something you'd often say about a Roy Hodgson team, but I think they are trying to win matches. They're playing very positively. Over 2.5.
Over 2.5 for you. And Dan, what do you reckon at Selhurst?
Definitely. I mean, I mentioned it previously about Palace. I don't think they're going to be bottom of the table for long. I thought they were excellent again in the game against Spurs. I don't rate Everton at the moment either. I mean, the game against Watford, they were heading for defeat until Karnezis, the Watford, the sub-keeper comes on as an absolute nightmare. So I just the penalty was really lucky as well when the guy Holobas slipped over. I just don't rate Everton. Palace odds against to me with Benteke, at least in the squad all day long.
Leicester against Man City. Leicester 8-1, 9-2 the draw, 3-10 Man City. Will the Man City juggernaut keep going, or will the champions of 2 years ago be able to halt them, Mark?
I wouldn't back City in this one, actually. Leicester have got a lot of what you need, I think, to beat City in terms of the counter-attacking threat. And if Puel sets them up very defensively to hit on the break, I mean, it's sort of what Leicester won. It's how they won the championship. And Man City had problems there big time last year. They were turned over in no time. They are a better team. It's not a fantastic bet in this one. It's just I wouldn't put City in your accas.
You're going to sit it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, maybe City to win and both teams to score, but it's certainly not a game where I'd be putting City, Man City, that is, into the accumulators. There'll be better opportunities to back them.
Certainly, when you look at the prices, because I mean, if you're looking at this and it's 6-1 Leicester, you're not remotely interested, Dano. But 8, does that start getting into the realms of temptation?
It does, and I look at the draw price at 9-2 as well. I mean, I totally agree with what Mark said about the counter-attacking threat. You've got Demarai Gray's, now getting some starts.
He's good, isn't he?
Yeah,
what a player!
You've got Vardy, was looking, he's got the pace threat as well. Mahrez looks interested again now, which is a big difference. And City with great side, but it's always a doubt, I think, with these big teams when they've got a lot of players on international duty the first game back, whether they'll be right on it. So I just thought the draw price is Leicester are such a dangerous counter-attacking side. The draw price looks too big to me.
Aguero fainted, didn't he, in the dressing room after their game against Nigeria, I think it was. So,
did he?
Yeah. So I mean,
been in the wars lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, might be a doubt on him, and obviously Jesus has done quite a lot of travelling, so there'll be better opportunities to back up. Was it Freeze on shot away from home?
3-10.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the next match, if the programme editor at Liverpool's got no problems with the they played for both clubs, because it's Liverpool v Southampton. You'd almost struggle for a they didn't play for both clubs. 2-5 Liverpool, 7-2 the draw, 7-1 the Saints. What do you reckon, Dan Childs?
Liverpool have had a few doubts over players, but look like they're going to make it now. Coutinho looks like he'll be okay. Mane's still a bit of a doubt over. Lallana's coming back into the squad, so they're looking stronger than they were perhaps before the international break. Southampton, as we all know, had their problems scoring goals. I just think fancy Liverpool to win this and Liverpool to win 0 to pump up the value a little bit at 7-5.
God, you trust in that Liverpool defence. Good luck. Mark?
I mean, I'd maybe just be maybe the 1-0 Liverpool, because they have had problems in under Klopp breaking down teams that put up a defensive block against them, if you like. And Southampton are probably the dullest team I've seen in the Premier League this year. I've no idea what the manager is attempting to do there. I mean,
because they were always a bit of value, weren't they?
I mean, under Puel got stick for being negative, and his English wasn't great. But I mean, they don't even try to win games anymore. They just try and keep the ball the whole game.
Pointless passing.
Yeah, I mean, it's possession without penetration, which is. I mean, I'd rather see a team just lump it forward rather than do that. So I mean, Liverpool to win 1-0. It's like Crystal Palace was a good example of, you know, them needing to be patient because Mane and Salah don't get the space in behind in this type of game. So eventually to get it done, but it may not be pretty.
And the other 3 o'clock game is West Brom versus Chelsea. The Throssels are 5-1, Chelsea 4-7, and it's 3-1 the draw. Another interesting little challenge, this one, Mark. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Tony Pulis obviously under a lot of pressure, went on holiday, didn't he, to Barbados or somewhere in the Caribbean, got a load of stick for that off the Throssels fans. I was looking at Bakayoko to score in this game. I don't know if you recall the match against Manchester United. He was playing very advanced. I just checked the stats. He had the most shots in the game, 4 shots. He scored recently against Palace, I think it was. He got
a header, yeah.
Yeah,
so I mean, poorly marked.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a big lad.
He is, and he makes a lot because Fabregas and Kante are sitting. Makes a lot of runs. Sort of, he's the one that's being asked to join in with Hazard and Morata. I just sort of put that one in the notebook when I saw how far advanced he was getting. I mean, his finishing was terrible against United, but actually he was getting in the positions, and that's all I think.
I mean, fundamentally, so far, absolute shit, isn't he? But he's obviously not. Because, but based on what he's done so far in England, he's really been poor. But there must be something more there.
I thought he did a lot better against United, just in terms of his effectiveness. I mean, the final touch wasn't there in that game, but I thought his intentions were good. He missed the pre-season. I think for anybody missing pre-season, it can harm you. For a foreign player coming over in that midfield position, if you don't get all that tactical work that Conte wants, you know, he's moving around from a Monaco team that played 4-4-2 essentially to what Conte wants. You know, Kante's been injured as well, so I think there are reasons for why he's been bad.
Good?
I mean, he's out of the French squad at the moment, so there's a big few months for him coming up.
Dan, what do you reckon here?
I'd probably stick Chelsea in your hackers this week. I mean, West Brom have been poor for a while now. I mean, 10 games I think now without a win. So there's not a good mood there. I don't think among the supporters at the moment. When the style of play is poor and you're getting the odd result, the supporters can handle that. But when the style of play is poor and there's no sign of a win, it's dire. And Chelsea, I think that win over Man United and probably deserve to win the game as well. Give them a big boost, and I think they'll go and win here as well.
Okay, let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Mark Langdon?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Bundesliga here. Leipzig draw no bet away to Bayer Leverkusen. I was surprised by the prices that basically say there's not much between these two teams if you take out home advantage. But, I mean, Leipzig are 6 points ahead of Leverkusen this season. They were 26 points ahead of them last year. They've won 5 of their last 6 in the Bundesliga. The one they didn't win was against Bayern Munich. Leverkusen, very funny team. Can be very good, but they can also be very bad as well. And I just thought it was out. Not often Leipzig have been outsiders this season, so I want to be with them. They've already won at Dortmund in this campaign. So Leipzig draw no bet.
Dan Childs.
I'm going to go to League One, and I'm going to go for Plymouth at home to Oxford. Plymouth off the bottom of League One last week, won 1-0 at Bradford, and they did it without their best player, Graham Carey, who's probably one of the best attacking midfield players in that division. And they're 6 games unbeaten now. There's been a little revival going on for a while there. They're a tough side to beat, and they're starting to do a bit more going forward. Oxford on the other side, 4 defeats in a row at the moment. Pep Clotet's having a bit of a struggle there at the moment. They lost at home to Northampton last week 2-1. Northampton, who are not a great side, but could have won by more goals apparently. And Curtis Nelson got injured in that game. This Oxford centre-back and captain, he's out for the season as well. So it's a tough times for Oxford at the moment, and I think they'll continue at Plymouth.
Okay, I saw 5-4 against Sunderland's name, and I thought, well, I've got to oppose them. They're playing Millwall, and Millwall 9-4. That will do for me. Righty-ho, competition time. Every week we give listeners and viewers the chance to win a £25 or €25 free bet, courtesy of our sponsor, Paddy Power. All you have to do is answer the upcoming question correctly and tweet your response using the hashtag Postcast. The winner will have the free bet credited to their Paddy Power account. Last week's winner was Michael Gillen from Dublin. Well done, Michael. Good luck with your free bet. If you want the chance to win a free bet, just tweet the answer to this question with the hashtag Postcast. Who scored Ireland's only goal in their 5-1 drubbing at the hands of Denmark on Tuesday?
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi there, it's Bruce Millington, Mark Langdon, Dan Childs with the Weekend Football Postcast, and we're looking ahead to one live Premier League Sunday match and one Monday night game. So the Sunday game is Watford versus West Ham at Vicarage Road. Paddy Power bet evens Watford, 5-2 the draw, 13-5 West Ham. It is West Watford all the way for me. Who is it for you, Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to the game. I fancy Watford to win this. They've lost the last 3 games, kind of played a bit of a worry. They played well in all 3. Away to Chelsea, at home to Stoke, dominated the game, and away to Everton and lost them. That's a concern, but I just think it's a bit of a temporary thing. The defence could be stronger this week. Prodal's back in full training now, so that could beef them up a little bit at the back there. They're still missing Deeney through suspension, but they've got some pace up front. Richarlison has been outstanding, as we know, this season. Andre Gray will give them a pace threat as well instead of Deeney. I just think they've got a little bit more than West Ham at the moment going forward. You've got Hernandez is out for West Ham. Antonio's out as well for West Ham. And the centre of defence, you've got Winston Reid coming back from playing for New Zealand. There's a doubt over whether he'll play. Font's out as well. So the heart of that defence could be a little bit shaky. I'm not sure how much Moyes will have been able to do in the short amount of time, especially with all the players being off around the world on international duty. How many of them he will have been able to influence? I'm sure they'll try and be tight, and he'll try and get the base right at the back first, but I fancy Watford to win this.
Mark, before you give us your tip for the match, what do you think David Moyes will achieve with West Ham overall this season?
I think they'll probably finish sort of the top end of the lower half of the table, probably 13th or 14th.
Too good to go down?
I think they are. I mean, they haven't been so far. I think it's fair to say that, but I'd be surprised if there weren't 3 worse teams. I mean, you know, the likes of some of the newly promoted teams. I still think Huddersfield, you know, are going to struggle to pick up loads of points. And if you've got the basis there in, say, Carroll and Hernandez and Antonio when he's fit and Lanzini, I think to be clear of the bottom 3, I think Bilic probably should have gone at the end of last season. He didn't go because they beat Tottenham in that game towards the end of the campaign. It seemed to lift everybody.
Tottenham, that's it.
Yeah, but there'd been a lot of negativity around the club, and I think that a lot of talk that the training was a joke under him, and things had needed to be changed. And so I think Moyes comes in. I mean, he's got plenty to prove after the nightmare at Sunderland. But I think it's better to have a manager like that is maybe hungry to prove something. I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was appointed as Manchester United manager, so maybe all the negativity about his appointment is misplaced. I mean, I don't know how much more West Ham should be aiming for really than somebody like David Moyes. I mean, particularly in the middle of the season.
Who would you have appointed?
Well, I mean, I would have seen if somebody like Marco Silva was available, but Everton have had a look and it doesn't look like he is.
Well, of course, now Stuart Pearce is involved. Yeah, you could get the call up, couldn't you? Because don't forget,
I tweeted these Danny Kelly's good pals with Stuart Pearce, and I promised. I said that Pearce had promised me a job. I said I said I can scout, make the tee, or play right back, depending on what he needed.
Did you hear that, Dan? What happened was when Stuart Pearce was doing a show with, I think Mark Saggers on Talk Sport.
Euros draw,
and at the end of it, he said, when I get back in, he said, the first signing I'm going to make is him, because I've never known anyone with knowledge like that. So really, if he's good to his word, you're going to be a little ML on that Barrett tracksuit.
Yeah, I don't mind taking him down if I play right back. But in terms of the game, I can understand why people are negative about David Moyes, because the job he did at Sunderland, the way he went in there and said we're in a relegation battle straight away was the wrong approach.
He wasn't wrong though, was he?
He wasn't wrong, no. He just ended up buying a load of his Everton cast-offs, and I'm not sure he was that. But he didn't appear to be trying, which I think.
But the board weren't trying either. That could be a big difference in the January transfer window. West Ham, if they're anywhere near it, are going to throw the kitchen sink at it.
I mean, I don't know if he's a long-term appointment, and you want somebody. Everybody's looking for the Pochettino effect, aren't they, on their team? And not everybody can find somebody like that, because not everybody's good enough. Not enough good managers to go round. But
what's going to happen here then?
Do you know what, I'm going to disagree with Dan and go for West Ham or draw, double chance. I mean, I think playing away from the London Stadium is a good thing for West Ham. Their home advantage was It just wasn't there last season, hasn't been there this year either. But away from home, when they can be a bit more defensive, they've drawn with West Brom, they've drawn with Burnley, they were winning that game, Andy Carroll was sent off, they were beating Palace 2-0, then probably sat back a little bit too much in the second half. So, I mean, they've done okay away from home under Bilic, won, of course, at Tottenham in the League Cup. So, I'm hoping that Moyes can have a positive effect. I mean, I wouldn't be having the farm on it, as they say, but I just a little bit unsure about Watford because of what's happened against. They didn't win that game against Stoke. I know they had a player sent off early at Brighton, but they're still, that ill discipline cost them there. So I don't know if I don't know if we're starting to get too hyped up about them now. I mean, I've probably fallen for it one too many times myself, which is why I'm a little bit frustrated with them. So West Ham will draw double chancing. I mean, it's not the greatest Super Sunday game of all time, is it?
It could be argued that the Monday night football's not the greatest of all time. Certainly could be argued. It's Brighton versus Stoke, but it's a very interesting game and very close in the betting. Paddy Power goes 7-5 Brighton and Hove Albion, 11-5 Stoke City, 21-10 the draw. Mark, you can go first. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go for Brighton. Slightly nervous because Stoke have frustrated me a few times this season.
They're a tough team to get right, aren't they, Stoke?
I mean, basically, when they're struck, they chuck on. I don't know why they don't play Peter Crouch from the start, given the impact he makes off the bench for them. But he does look like their only real goal threat. So, I mean, I've been surprised and impressed with Brighton. The only time they've lost at home was against Man City. Even then, they held out for a long time, didn't they? Yeah. Duffy and Dunk have done really well in terms of the centre-back positions. Izakuri, Knockaert and Grosser have done very well in the front three positions. You'd like somebody else to be playing up front. If they did have somebody else other than Murray, up front trying to score the goals, it'd probably be a shorter price. And actually, Murray's done quite well in recent weeks. So, I thought I had this one down sort of closer to 11-10 really with home advantage. I don't think there's a huge amount between Brighton and Stoke.
Okay, Dan?
I see a very tight game, but I'm just gonna side with Stoke actually. I mean, I watched Stoke in the game at Watford when they really did a job on Watford. I mean, having the two centre backs there, Zuma and Shawcross, are absolute beasts. They had a fantastic game. They were so hard to break down. They had a threat going forward as well. Shaqiri looks like he didn't have a great game for Switzerland against Northern Ireland, but recently for Stoke he's playing quite well. Looks a threat. Looks a class act. Choupo-Moting impressed me as well with his pace. He looks an impact player from him. And Crouch, as has been mentioned, off the bench. I don't see a lot of difference between these two teams, but I think Stoke at the moment maybe set up better with a bit of pace as well and the strength at the back to play well away from home. So I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going Stoke drawing over 6-5.
I mean, Grant did well last time he was in goal for Stoke.
Yeah,
I think the Butland injury though still might. I mean, was Lee Grant? I know he did well, but I mean, this is somebody that wasn't. Derby weren't crying their hearts out when he left to go
but
there.
He had a good run of games and he looked good, didn't he, last season? When he
did.
Yeah.
I just, he's not as good as Butland.
No, that's for sure. There's not many are, Mark.
No, that is true.
Paddy Pogo, 11-2, 0-0 and 7-4 under 1.5 goals. I think I might be getting involved with that. Thank you very much, chaps. We'll be back next week. We've got the Racing Postcast tomorrow. And don't forget, if you like the shows, do make sure you review and subscribe on iTunes.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.